Colleagues, I see that we have quorum, and I call this meeting of Policy and Priorities Committee to order. Our first order of business, we have an agenda before you. It's been moved by Councillor Ribyak, seconded by Councillor King, that the agenda for the January 19th, 2015 regular meeting of Policy and Priorities Committee be adopted. Are there any changes? If not, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Carried. First order of business, colleagues, is...
Pecuniary interest.
Sorry?
Pecuniary interest.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Are there any pecuniary interests in any of the items on the agenda? I see everyone shaking their head, so there's consensus, if you could record that there are none. Thank you. First order of business, I have a motion by Councillor King, seconded by Councillor Durley, that the Policy and Priorities Committee receive the Direct Deposit Initiative report and recommend to Council that the endorsement of the Direct Deposit Initiative. Discussion? Questions?
Seems pretty straightforward to me.
No.
Okay, I'll move on and call the question. All those in favor? Thank you. It's carried. I have a motion by Councillor Papp, seconded by Councillor Junkin, that the Policy and Priority Committee receive issue summary report 2015 consolidated user fees and charges, and that the committee recommend to Council that the 2015 consolidated schedule of user fees and charges be approved. Discussion? Councillor Papp?
Just quickly through you, Mr. Chair, to the Director Vicky. The Peace Park, I see you got a pavilion rate, but do we have groups that we actually charge a pavilion rate? Is that part of the Summerfest? We charge that rate?
Ms. Van Ravensway?
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes, we do have private rentals as
Okay.
well.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's, okay.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, Councillor Papp again.
Through, again, just to the fire chief, I see you have the false alarm charges. How many actually do you know over the period that you've been here that we've actually charged somebody for a false alarm response?
Yes.
Depends on, we have a few how it's broken down there. So
Right.
if you generate a false alarm emergency response in an uncontrolled burn, we've done that a couple times.
Okay.
For the OREG, for the gas stuff, we did that 3-4 times last year. We've already done it twice or once this year. It all depends on the nature of it. So there's
Okay.
3 or 4 different.
So these are billed to the resident
Yes. Or in some cases, the business, if it's a company.
themselves? Okay, I'm fine.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I saw you indicate a
Thank
question.
you, Mr. Chair. There's some difference between what was posted on with the agenda and then this report. So, and those I think were with building fees.
Right.
So just want to hear a little bit about that from the treasurer, and then also, but the planning fees are going up, or it's recommended that the planning fees go up, and just looking for, is there a percentage that those are going up?
Madam Treasurer?
Through you, Mr. Chair. The original file was proposing that planning fees and building permit fees were going up by COLA. It was then determined that under the Building Act that those fees could not go up until they went to a public meeting. So they were removed and re-uploaded as the email I sent to council yesterday or this morning indicated. With respect to COLA, COLA is 2.4 from November 2013 to November 2014, and that is the number that the fees went up by in planning.
Well, that's what you're recommending. Okay.
Anything else, Mr. Mayor?
All right, I think that's it. Yeah, I was informing staff earlier about the building fees and how that was an issue in previous years. So look forward to that coming forward at the appropriate time.
Perfect. Thank you. Councillor Durley.
Mr. Chair, just wondering where a list like this can be looked at by the public. Is it listed on our website or?
Madam Treasurer?
It's listed on the website. We also have it available at the front counter if anybody wants to grab it through there. So
It's wide open, and that's good. That's all I was asking. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? If not, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Motion by Councillor Junkin. Councillor Pap, will you second it?
Yep.
That Policy and Priorities Committee receive the issue summary report, adopt a road program policy, and that committee recommend council that policy S701/11, the adopt a road program policy, be approved, and that policy COM/17 be rescinded. Discussion? Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just, do we have a policy for adopt a trail?
Mr. Mantle, can you speak to that?
Through you, Mr. Chair, there is no policy with respect to adopt a trail that I know of. It could certainly be included as part of the process, separate policy.
Well, I was just thinking, as I read through this policy, I thought, you know what, this is pretty much, or could pretty much be applicable to one of the trails that
makes
we
sense.
have.
Do you want to propose an amendment, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, that we turn this into adopt a road/trail program policy and make the appropriate changes and then have that come to council.
Makes sense to me. Any discussion around the amendment? Councilor Rubio?
Mr. Chair, and not to throw any cold water at all on
Okay.
the suggestion, because I think it's an excellent suggestion, and trails ought to be adoptable just as roads are. I'm just wondering whether kind of conflating both into one policy does both the justice and gives them both the attention that they deserve. That's my only concern with regard to that. I think it's a great idea. I think it deserves a policy of its own.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, your thoughts on that?
No matter to me. I guess I just was thinking about trails and they should be adoptable as well.
Mr. Mantle, do you have any comment on that?
You can adopt them both.
Thank you. We have a motion to amend. Does the mayor have to remove that? How do we?
You might just amend it to ask that a policy be developed.
Mr. Mayor, perhaps you could amend your motion.
You do that now. I'll make a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Pardon?
perhaps you could amend your amendment to make it more a direction to staff to bring forward a policy with respect to maintenance of trail or adopt a trail.
Thank you.
If
I
you
will
would
do
agree to
that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Any discussion around that amendment? No, if not, I'll call the amendment. All those in favor? Thank you. So now we'll call the entire question. All those in favor of the motion as amended? That's carried. I got my tongue around that one.
I'll do it.
You want to do it? You go and do it. Do you want me to introduce it or you do it? You do it.
Okay, I have a motion here by Councillor Junkin, and perhaps Councillor King, could you second it? Agree to second it?
I can.
Thank you. That Policy and Priorities Committee receive the issue summary report, municipal drain maintenance and inspection policy, and that committee recommend to council that policy S701/10 municipal drain maintenance and inspection policy be approved and policy works/03 be rescinded. Discussion. Once, twice? Don't see any hands. Call the question. All those in favor? Motion carried. And excitingly,
Mr. Chair, I wonder if
Yes.
I can add something under old business, or maybe it's new business. I guess it's old business, and that is, I neglected to do this at council, Mr. Chair, so I hope the
Mr. Mayor,
colleagues.
with indulgence, we will allow you to do that.
Thank you so much.
What would you
And-
like to add?
You're very kind, and really it's to, I should have acknowledged that our council meeting earlier, moments ago, was, I believe, the last council meeting for Mr. Mantle, who is retiring at, it isn't? We have other council meetings? Well, there you go. Well, we'll fit him then.
Shut my mouth.
So we'll move that over to another meeting perhaps, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, well, maybe we should acknowledge it. When's our next council?
Business.
February 7th.
So more than likely be here for the month of February, Mr. Mayor.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. It may not be his last meeting, but
Premature, Al.
apparently
Don't get
not.
excited yet, Al.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a motion by Councillor Durley, seconded by Councillor King, that this regular meeting of Policy and Priorities Committee be adjourned until the next regular committee scheduled for Monday, February the 2nd, 2015, unless sooner called by the mayor. All those in favor? Carried.
In under an hour?
This meeting is adjourned.
Can that be done? Is it legal if it's done in under an hour?
Time for February 1st, so he's just gonna help us out until we can do a good transition, which means I expect he's gonna probably continue in February, so he'll be here for a few more.
Thank you.
Okay, okay.
The party's still on.
No, no.